So tonight I'm working on my 2015 800 RMK. I have a few things to do to get it ready for the winter. I'm taking the suspension out of it to check all the bearings and the bushings. I have new shock bushings for it. I bought most of the bushings and different parts that usually wear out. I have a new set of ice scratchers and I have a new anti-stab kit that I have to install in it. I'm also gonna just check out some of the shafts and stuff when I go to take it apart. So here I have a box of parts that should replace most of the things that I need, but I'm guessing I'm gonna have to order some more stuff as well. So I have the suspension completely hauled out. I have the shocks placed over here on the table. The old bushings were shot, so I have a bunch of new bushings for them. That should get the sled feeling fresh again. You can see the old shocks were done. I also have the bushings that go in the suspension arm. I have a new vent for it, tether, some ice scratchers, also a few more things for my clutching, but I'll work on that later. And I have a lot of plastic bushings for my arms. So I got the new bushings in the shocks. Look pretty good. Should make the sled feel sick. Also forgot to show my new anti-stab kit. This should stop my track from getting stabbed by the rails. Looks nice. Now I'm gonna move on to probably taking the arms off. I have to replace these plastic bushings. I have a few bushings for the skis as well. I'm gonna clean the skis up as well because they're pretty shitty looking. I also need to get the clutch taken off. I have a clutch puller there. Gonna get the clutch taken out and taken apart so I can clean it up good. Has a bunch of belt dust on it. I was hoping to get the engine completely taken out and clean up the rest of the front, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to it this year. Now I'm going to work on getting the A-arms off so I can replace all the plastic bushings. So I have the arms off the sled. I'm taking out these plastic bushings. They're pretty shitty. They're not cracked up or anything, but they're most likely worn out and causing a little bit of slack. I have a bunch of new OEM bushings that should make the sled feel new again. So I have all the bushings replaced with new ones. I also figured out I'm gonna need a new upper ball joint and the lower ball joint or main ball joint. probably get the ones for the steering too, but I'm not sure yet. And I'm gonna need new shock ball joints. Probably also gonna buy the bushings for the upper shock mount because they seem a bit loose too. I have the A-arms bolted back on now. I have a list of parts made here to order. A few different types of bushings and ball joints and tie rod ends. I also need to get more brake cleaner to clean my clutch, so I can't put that back on. So I moved on to working on the exhaust. I noticed my Y plate was split down the middle. I got a new stainless steel Y plate from Straight Line Performance. I also have a fresh exhaust gasket to go on there because this one has about 8,000 miles on it and it's probably shot. While I'm in here, I'm also going to be removing the power valves to clean them up. They should be gunked up after how many miles I have on this sled, and they haven't been cleaned before. I have a new set of bellows and gaskets to replace the old ones, and it should freshen up the sled pretty good. So got the power valves out. Gonna clean them up with some brake cleaner. Hopefully get all the black carbon gunk off them. Should make the sled run a lot cleaner. So I'm about to take the Pro Arm out for a test ride. I replaced most of the suspension bushings, got power valves all cleaned up, new bushings in the A-arms. I also have new weights in the clutch and a new primary. I also had to replace the valve in one of my shocks. Have a new Y plate on the sled, clean up the power valves, new gaskets on everything. So now I'm going to take it in for a test drive, make sure it runs great.
So I have my sled ready for tomorrow. Did new ski rods, replaced my primary clutch spring. Also did a 2-inch riser. So now I'm just going to take it out for a little ride around the house, make sure the clutch is engaging properly, and make sure the brakes and that's working. And I had the rear suspension out, so I want to make sure everything is moving properly and nothing is rubbing. So we'll take it out for a little test.